Hey guys, it's Erin and Jenny with Revisions Mentor.
Hi, everybody.
Today we are going to discuss how we store our home staging inventory, where we store it, and how we keep it organized.
We've talked about this before, but we have some really excellent questions from a subscriber named Joy, who really got down to some of the nuts and bolts of the inventory. And we love these questions so much. We're going to answer these specifically for you today, Joy, because this is good information for all of you guys out there. Joy's first question for us: do you put all like items together in your storage, such as all picture frames go together or all vases go together? Or do you do something in terms of storing as a grouping, like blue and white pillows, all sofas go together? Let's talk about that.
Okay, so yes, we do organize in terms of, we have shelves that are designated for just lamps. So we put all of our lamps there. We take off the finials and we store those with the lamp shades. We put the lamp shades up high on the top of shelves so that they don't get damaged. We kind of clump all of our greenery together on shelves. We put all of our art together, kind of stacked up, these big canvases stacked up like books on really large shelves.
We keep all of our bedding and our pillows in one section in our storage. So as far as our small items, our accessories, that stuff is really organized by item. Like Erin was saying, lamps over here, art over here, pillows and bedding over here. Accessories all go together, but we even go so far as to try to stay organized in terms of, these are bathroom accessories, these are kitchen accessories, these are generally, living room, shelving, bedroom types of accessories. Mm-hmm. As far as our bigger items, our upholstery and our tables, we do the same. That's configured a little bit different in a different part of our warehouse space. We like to keep things where we can look over to this part of the space and say, okay, here are all of our dining tables. This is what we have to choose from. Uh-huh. Do you want to talk a little bit, Erin, about storage for chairs and sofas and that sort of thing?
So moving blankets are really important in terms of storing your stuff. And we'll put moving blankets on the floor of our storage space, and then we turn the sofas up on the arms if you have the kind, if they're designed in a way that can support that sort of weight. I'd say if it's like a Chesterfield sofa with rolled arms, it's probably not going to do well if you turn it up on its side. But the sofas that we used are typically real clean lines and they're flat. So we turn them up on their sides to conserve space in our storage space. And then we put all of our chairs together. And if you can turn one chair on top of the other to conserve space without damaging your upholstery or damaging the cushions, we'll do it that way. So we store, ottomans in one section, all of our greenery in one section, the big floor plants, we'll put those in a space. Sometimes we'll stack those on shelves to make more floor space.
Mattresses, box springs, those are all clumped together so we can see what sizes we have available. Mm-hmm. and how many. It helps to be organized by type. I think that it would be cool to be able to, keep an entire living room, organized together in terms of, all of the pieces and the accessories that you need. But I think that we found over the years that it's just not an ideal way to capitalize on the amount of physical storage space that you have available. It's better to organize by type of item.
Yes. I mean,
that works.
If you have a proper warehouse, but the warehouse space is terribly expensive. I mean, we've looked and looked and priced it. And I mean, it's thousands of dollars a month. And so for an operation the size of ours, that doesn't suit our needs. We don't want that much overhead. So we have a storage space that's sufficient for us, but it requires some creativity. And that means stacking the dining room chairs, opposite ways and hanging things on walls. And so this was kind of interesting. What we did was we bought restaurant shelving on the Facebook Marketplace. And, we got enough to fill the entire space. I mean, every wall of our storage space we use these big heavy metal shelves that we bought. But we also learned that if you buy these sorts of shelves, which is a great resource because they're not expensive, but you got to make sure they're clean, because restaurant shelves often have grease on them. So we ended up spending a tremendous amount of time scrubbing them, but it worked out well. And we use, furniture blankets to pad them. And then we can put, items on top and don't have to worry about the upholstery getting damaged. So just keep that in mind, whatever shelving system you use, make sure it's clean so you don't ruin your upholstery.
Yeah, make sure that it's clean and make sure that it's solid. And the reason that we chose the rest of the industrial restaurant shelving is because it is substantial. It is not that flimsier, lightweight, assembly stuff that you can get from the big box stores. And that said, I will say we do use some of that lightweight storage for our pillows, and that's perfect for that. But everything else, it needs to be really solid in terms of durability, and even potentially able to be mounted to the wall behind it for security. The bins of accessories alone weigh a tremendous amount of weight. And you're putting, you're piling your precious inventory that you purchased up on those shelves. It's got to be really solid. So that goes into, Erin, another one of Joy's questions. We covered that, shelving, and then she asks us about the containers that we're using. She says, what containers do you find work best for storing your inventory? Do you use clear containers? Do you label them? What size do you use?
Okay, so we use those big, heavy Tupperware bins, and we have found that the clear bins are easier to work with. We don't normally put lids on them though, because the accessories are tall and short, and we just kind of put them inside the bin. We slide them onto the shelves, and then we just pull the whole bin out and take it with us for the next job. That's kind of our heavy rotation, like the stuff that's used a whole lot. And then the other pieces that aren't used as frequently are on shelves in an organized way, and then we pack up the bins when we're ready to go. They're not labeled. We store them in according to category, so we know that the bedroom accessories are here and the kitchen accessories are here and the bathroom accessories are here. So we just grab the bins and go when it's time to go. So that's just the way that we keep it organized. I have seen where people have them all labeled and they have the lids on them, and that's a great system. We haven't found that to be necessary for us because we're such high volume. We just it keeps going. So there's really no time to like sit down and label things. We just put it in the bins, load up the truck, and take it to the house. And what we don't use, we put back in the bins, take it back to the storage unit.
I will add that it's important that you get bins that are manageable for one person to carry. We have had larger bins, those big oversized, when I talk about one that you can carry, it's, the width of your shoulders, it's relatively deep, one person can manage it. Mm-hmm. Those double wides are almost impossible. I can't carry one of those on my own. Right. So we work almost exclusively with a size that one person can manage. They get very, very heavy, especially with all of the clay, porcelain, vases, lamps. And, like you're saying, Erin, if we have everything laid out on our shelves, we can just pull, load a bin, put it in. Joy also asks us about wrapping our inventory. Since we're on the topic of bins, let's talk about how we wrap our small accessories, and then we can also talk about how we address our larger pieces of furniture.
Yeah, so our smaller accessories, we're just careful about the way we pack our boxes. But, we put the plants on the top so they don't get smashed, and we put the heavier things, the books and the solid pieces on the bottom. Sometimes we'll use bubble wrap or something. We'll wrap some of the clay in that. Things get broken sometimes. It's part of the game, right? And we try not to let that happen, but we kind of expect it to happen occasionally just because things are going in and out of houses so frequently.
You can also use plastic grocery bags. We use plastic grocery bags all the time just to put a little protective layer between, pieces of porcelain. You can use newspapers. We keep and reuse and recycle this stuff all the time. So when we go to pack up a staging job, we're going armed with, a dozen empty bins, and those bins are jam-packed with plastic bags and garbage bags and papers that we just recycle job after job after job. A little effort to protect your stuff is worth it.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah.
And we use plastic garbage bags quite a lot to protect our bedding and our pillows. I mean, it's kind of amazing how quickly those things get damaged. A lot of what we use is slip covered, but it is an extra step to have to take it back to, your house and wash the materials and put them back, take them back to the job site. So we try to avoid that happening in the first place by using trash bags to keep them protected.
I think it's so worth it to make sure that your upholstery, your bedding, your pillows, your linens are protected. That's the stuff that gets, messed up so frequently for us when we just don't take that extra minute to do that step. And it's not for lack of effort. The honest to God truth of it is the inside of the moving trucks are dusty sometimes. We live in a very, very, very hot climate. So our moving men are working really hard. They're also sweaty. Sweat and skin oils transfer to upholstery. So taking the extra minute to really protect the cloth pieces of your inventory is super important. Same for lamps, lampshades. They're our most frequently broken item. Lampshades dent so easily. Wrapping those items and transporting them mindfully will save you a lot of money in replacement inventory. Yeah.
One way that we take care of our lamps is it's worked out really well for us. Is we strap them into the seat belts in our cars. So we take the lampshade off and we put the lamp base in a seat belt. I put them in my car seats and put seat belts across the whole thing, and usually pad them with pillows in between each lamp if you have room for that. And then we keep the lampshades separate so they don't get smashed, because if you put them on the truck, they are going to get broken. We seem to lose a lamp about every move.
Yeah, we do. We do. We lose a lamp every move.
Yeah, they get if you leave the lampshade on it and the wind blows and you set down, you've set it down outside, especially the taller lamps, it blows over, it breaks. It's amazing how fragile those things are. So that's how we kind of keep up with it. The other thing that I think that we should address is when we move our furnishings, they often get scuff marked. So, keeping the protective coverings that often comes when you buy new furniture, they have these really thin, muslin cloth covers that have drawstrings on the bottom. We'll use those just to kind of keep a barrier of protection over our upholstery. When we move stuff, it gets damaged more often than when we use movers, because when we use movers, they wrap it in moving blankets and they're more mindful.
We have moving companies also that will use that plastic wrap, and you can request that.
Yeah.
Which is a good option.
It is. It protects your stuff, but then there's the environmental side of that.
Yeah. Right. In the event that you're not using a moving company and you're doing it yourself, or you've hired your own movers, moving blankets, like Erin said, we often use bed sheets. Those are easy to launder. They protect furnishings really well. You can remove the slip covers from the sofas and the chairs before you take them and move them. Put them in protective containers or plastic bags, and then put them back on when you get to the job site. It's an extra step, but it's really worth the while.
Take your steamer with you and extension cords, because if you're packing up your slip covers and throwing them into bags, you're going to have to steam them when you put them back on the furniture. So you're going to have to take the time to do that so it doesn't look wrinkly. You want it to look crisp.
Yeah. And then as far as moving the hard pieces, dining tables, end tables, coffee tables, consoles, dressers, that sort of thing, we don't wrap those items, and our moving company generally don't wrap those either. What we use are moving blankets, and you need a lot of those. They work for layers between items that are stacked. They protect corners on the trucks. Moving blankets are your friends.
They are. They're also really good for storage. Like I mentioned, you put them on the floor, and then if you have to put your upholstery up on its side, or if you have to stack upholstery, you put your moving blankets on it to protect the layers that are underneath.
We've got another question from Joy along these lines, Erin, and she asks, how do you store your large canvas art pieces so that they don't get ruined or scratched? Or how do you keep paint from getting tacky in a hot storage space?
Okay, so our art is typically printed canvases. We're not using a lot of we don't use any original oil paints or anything like that. So the way that you would probably avoid keeping that from getting damaged is by using climate control in your storage space. So that's a really important topic that we've touched on before, is you've got to make sure that in our climate, we have to have air conditioning, or else things will mold and things will melt and things do get tacky. But in terms of storing our canvases, we've customized the shelves that we use to create space. So when we built them, we made sure that they were tall enough to accommodate our commonly used art size, which is like 36 by 36. So we've stacked them up like books, and that keeps it protected, and it keeps it from getting damaged. And then you can easily see where your inventory is, and what you have available, which is great on move-in day. We're like, all right, living room, we're using these colors. We're snatching this piece. We need this piece of artwork for the bedroom. We need these pieces for the bathrooms. It makes move-in day really moves quickly.
And that upright storage that you're talking about, Erin, that's so important, that the pieces are upright versus stacked, and also organized by size, because smaller pieces, the corners and the back frames will put indentations on the canvas of larger pieces if you've stacked them horizontally. They will also do that vertically if you've got small pieces leaning into big pieces. So our system is set up so that they're grouped by size, so they're not impeding on one another in that space. And then as far as moving goes, your moving company knows how to move artwork. They're mindful. It usually goes into a large upright box. Again, it's going to look a lot the way you store it. When we're moving our canvases ourselves, we will often use the other pieces of furniture as buffers. So mattresses, for instance, is a really nice place for us to slide large canvases in between mattresses so that they're protected. And then in jobs where we're moving ourselves, we'll often put the smaller artwork or the more fragile artwork in our vehicles so that we can transport it carefully instead of on the truck where it has a better chance of getting bounced around.
Right, exactly. And and this is where moving straps are also really helpful. If we put the art in the truck, we stack it up, we put it towards the back. So it's one of the first things that comes off. It's one of the last things that goes on. And then we strap it to the boards that are mounted on the sides of the moving trucks to keep from flopping over, or, we use those moving straps a lot, the tie downs, to kind of secure everything into place. So if we take if we stop short or take a turn, that, if everything shifts, it's not going to puncture holes in all of your canvases.
We could do a whole topic on strapping things down in moving trucks, couldn't we?
Totally. Stay tuned.
All right, Erin, we have one last question from Joy, and she says, what do you do with your staging inventory when you no longer want to keep it?
Oh, that's easy. We do this all the time. We sell it.
Yes, we do.
We do. We sell it on the Facebook Marketplace. Sometimes we just get tired of looking at the same stuff over and over and over again. So we'll sell it on the Facebook Marketplace and turn around and buy another piece that we like better. Easy come, easy go. Trends change really quickly. We might buy a handful of canvases for one job, and then not necessarily need them. We don't need 9 canvases for the next job. So, we'll sell them or hang on to them. What do you think, Jen?
Yeah, we do that. We do both. If it just comes down to inventory that we don't want anymore, we don't hold on to it. We also try to be mindful of the stuff that is damaged in a way that, is not really usable anymore. Sometimes stuff gets thrown away. Sometimes stuff gets given away. It's just kind of the name of the game a little bit, but we're not too terribly attached to anything. We're pretty flexible. So we've kind of constantly got stuff coming and going from our inventory rotation for home staging.
We do. The Facebook Marketplace has been very helpful to us. I feel like we have a good reputation in our community. People will see, post it on our page, and we never have trouble, unloading inventory if we no longer have a use for it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So Joy, thank you for your questions about how we store and manage our home staging inventory. Great questions, good information to share with the rest of the home staging community.
That's right. And guys, if you have more questions, leave them in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, hit the like button, and we will keep cranking out videos with more information that's relevant to you and your staging businesses.
Ask us questions, we'll answer you. Thanks for listening.